Here we are once again. We're going to put together the Poljot 41M. Fairly simple movement. Like I said, if you haven't seen my other video, if you notice that center, what do you call that? Center bore is not jeweled. The center wheel goes in there. So I put a little D5 grease on that. D5 oil, I don't know what it is, but I put the center wheel right in the middle, and then our cannon pinion is going to go on the other side. Cannon pinion is mounted up into a pin vise. There's a shot of that right there. I changed my lighting a little bit so we don't have as many shadows, so let's see how that works. This is going to come out of the shot, and it's just a matter of pressing that assembly together with some lube on the inside, and I lubed that with D5 as well. Is that the proper lube for this? Well, who knows? I don't know. It seems to work. It snaps in place. I don't know if that came over on the audio, but here's the cannon pinion pressed in place with that center wheel, and we're going to mount that back into our movement holder, and let's start assembling. Try to do this as quick as possible. I keep saying that, but I do a lot of yapping. That arbor bore for the mainspring is going to get a little D5 as well. Let me change my light here, it's in the way. And our mainspring is already serviced, ready to go. We'll drop that in there. And if we remember, we have a pin that's got to drop in there as well. And I got a little bit of D5 left on there. Let's put that in. If you forget to do this, you're going to be taking that main barrel bridge out again. Let's zoom out here. We're in a little tight. So don't forget that pin. And there we have it. Let's drop in. Well, actually, before we do that, we're going to need a little lubrication. The main barrel bridge has a jewel on it as well. Let's see. Let me get that in a shot for you. Hopefully I don't spill anything here. We're going to lubricate that center jewel with some 9010, that arbor bore for the mainspring with a D5. Let's see, where can I put, let's, I want to put this in a shot. Let's see, let's just rest it right there. We're going to rest that right on the movement. Obviously it doesn't go in that particular orientation. So we're going to take a little 9010. We're going to lubricate the jewel with 9010. And the main spring bridge where the arbor comes through, we're going to use some D5. Just gets a light coating, just a smear of D5. Doesn't need a whole lot. I think earlier on in my in working on movements, I wanted to do more lubrication that was necessary. I think I referred to Moore's Law. Moore's Law said if one drop is good, more is better. Well, that's not always true, especially with watches, because you can over oil them. They can become a mess. I'm having some issues here. I'm going to readjust my lighting. Trying something new. Okay, we're in the shot. There we go. Making sure I'm in the shot. I'm looking at the screen and the part that I'm working on. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Just stick with one. Look at one or the other. Just make sure it's in the shot. Those dowel pins are rather snug. The pins that hold everything lined up. That's not a bad thing. Means they're precisely machined and fitted. That's a good thing. It's always a good sign. I already lubricated our click right here. That's already done, so we're not going to go through that. That's straightforward stuff. Trying to work around this microscope a little differently, and I can't really see what I'm doing, so that's not good. Maybe we should start over. No, I don't want to start over. I want to keep going. Of course, I'm missing a screwdriver. Anytime I try something new, I don't really practice it. I just wing it, put it out there. I don't know if our lighting is any better. Let's do this. How's that look? You gotta bear with me. Like I said, I'm no pro. Okay. Now we have things situated, I think. Okay. And when we're done here, I might do this in two parts, because we have to show how to oil that balance jewel, since it is not removable from the top. It is not spring mounted. Okay. We'll go through that, show you how that's done. Okay, how's everything? We just give that the mainspring barrel a nudge, and everything's twisting away nicely. Let's go to this winding wheel, and that's going to get a little. Now let's put some D5 on that. It's a heavier oil. Is it the right oil for this? Well, I'm telling you it is. It works for me. We're going to put a smear on the inside. Hi, Trixie. My doggy wants to go out. Okay, this should probably have... Was that in the shot? I sure hope so. This should probably have a little D5 on the base of that. So let's put some D5 here and some D5 there. Very thin, tiny drop, not even a drop. Let's lay that in. Okay, still trying to work around this microscope. Alright. Screws. What did I do with them? I think I lost them. Did I? Ay, ay, ay. There we go. Those are tiny little buggers. Ay, ay, ay. My aging eyes. No wonder I get a headache sometimes working on this stuff. I just want to make sure things are in the shot. That's nice and loose. Those screws are very similar, if not identical, to the keyless works. Don't know if I got them mixed up or not, but I really don't think it matters. So let's put a little D5 on here. A little smear there. There we go. I'm making more shadows again. I wanted to avoid that. For some reason I'm having trouble working around this microscope. I don't know what my problem is. It's one of those days. Maybe I need to be lubricated. Lucky for me, I got a glass of Sauvignon Blanc right next to me. Nothing crazy, nothing expensive, just a table wine. Something to calm the nerves after working all day. Working on a timepiece is actually relaxing for me, even though you need quite a bit of concentration. Nothing relaxes me more than a good cigar or a glass of wine. Let's come around here. We have to hold that in place so we can tighten it. Okay, outstanding. That's looking good. Let's come over, turn this over. Let's do our keyless works. Let's get that in place. I'm going to readjust things here. And one thing I want to point out is the balance jewel, which you see right here on the lower left. That is a blind jewel, meaning it's not bored through completely. So it has to be lubricated from the other side. It's either through or blind. That's a machinist term. That's what I call it. So let's get our keyless works back together here. That pin that we dropped in, that's this little guy right here. It's going to hold on to, I don't know what that's called. We know what it is, so it doesn't matter. Okay. I'm going to put that gear, winding gear in. And I'm going to put a little D5 on those teeth. Let's see. That's a good shot. We'll just put a drop. Just touch those engaging teeth for that clutch assembly. As it works its way around, it'll lubricate everything. At least it should. Okay, back in the shot. It's going to drop in and engage that winding gear on the other side. Here's our stem. I'm going to put that in place just to hold everything for us. There we go. Hopefully that was in the shot. How's our lighting? Is our lighting any better? Yikes. It is rather dark. Does that look dark? I don't know. I can't tell. Can't tell when I'm looking at a computer monitor. Let's try this. Try some ambient light. Does that work for us? Maybe. I'm still having difficulty with my lighting. There's always something in the way. So, let's continue. Let's put some D5. This is pretty slick stuff. It's very slippery. Let's put some D5 in here. So that gets lubricated. Finish off with a little bit there. And I think that's gonna be it for the D5. So I told myself I was going to memorize the names of these parts. Well, that hasn't worked out so good. I probably should. Because I'm sure people are going to poo-poo it. Hey, you don't know what that's called. Yeah, well. Too bad. Okay. I believe this goes the other way around. If I can turn it over. Come on. There we go. Does that look right? I think it does. Let's put a little smear of, let's see, let's do some 8200. It's like a heavier grease. Mobius 8200. Thick like a grease. On those two parts right there. That should make everything work nice and smoothly. Okay. There we have it. Also, while we're at it, we got the 8200 out. We're going to put a smear right there as well. We're going to take some of that off the top. We don't need it so much on the top. It's a little Rodico. Picks that up. I always have a piece of Rodico laying around just for grease, so you don't use that for cleaning dials and transfer the grease. It's good at picking up a smear of grease. Now, let's put in a couple of gears before we do anything else. And for that, for those pivots, why not some 90-10? Are we in the shot? Barely. Some 90-10 right here. I don't know what is the proper lubricants for these parts. I'll just kind of wing it. The fact that it has lubrication is a plus. Is it the proper oil? I don't know. But it works for me. Now if we look closely, this jewel, you're not going to be able to lubricate that once we drop the gear on. So let's put a bit of 90-10 in there as well. I have my smallest oiler, and we come in and we fill that with 90-10. We probably could have done it from the other side, but knowing me, I'm gonna forget. Okay, let's drop in a couple of gears, winding gears, hand setting gears, I guess you would call these. One here. And one there. Next is the spring. That's going to, let's get it in the shot. Come on, genius. It's going to hold that in place. Okay. Is that in right, or does it go this way? Let's find out. I don't think it goes that way. It just doesn't look right. So, when you're not sure, switch it around. It'll look better one way or another. There you go. Here's a screw for that. Let's get the thumb out of the way. That's in, ready to go. And our spring for that lever. I think after we get the keyless works done, we will stop and make it 2 parts. That works for me. So we don't get too lengthy on one. I'm going to make sure I'm in the shot there. My technique of putting one side in, holding the other end down. Alright, let's try that. We put the short side in first, and then I'm going to come in and hold on to it and push the long side in while holding everything, and it stays in place. That doesn't mean we're going to move anything. No, sir. We have another gear to go. I just noticed that. Okay. Let's put a smear of 90-10 on that post, on that pivot. The minute wheel, I believe that is. Let's drop our minute wheel in. Keep bumping into things. Everything's engaged. Let's change our tweezers here. Okay. You got to lean on these a little bit because they are spring loaded. You are, pushing those springs into where they need to engage. But when everything snaps in nicely, you'll know it. It'll sit flush. It'll lay in there. You can drop in a screw. I like to keep a finger on this while putting that screw in. And then after you get at least one in, I don't tighten it all the way, just enough. So we put even pressure on everything. And that ensures everything is tightened evenly. We don't have any escaping springs. Well, that is in the shot. I'm surprised. So after we put the keyless works together, we're going to test it. We're going to give it you can see these friction points under here. There's a friction point there. They all have lubrication. There's our hand setting. And push it in. Does the winding. We come around here for the winding. And everything's looking good. So we're going to end this now. We're going to start part 2 to do the rest of this.